Okay guys, Joe again. I'm going to give you a quick and dirty rundown on installing Aftermarket Sirius XM radio module. Did this for a friend on their 2014 Ford Focus. Okay, as I said, this 2014 Ford Focus happens to have the 4-cylinder. What I needed in the engine bay here is I needed to access that large grommet in the far corner back there. You can just see that small black wire. That's a better shot. Goes into that rubber grommet. So my technique for doing this usually is a metal coat hanger straightened with a point, and then this rubber was a lot thicker than usual, so I actually had to cut like an X in the rubber to allow enough room for the XM radio antenna plug. So with that wire, I attached it loosely, just one zip tie here, because I didn't want to. I did attach it once to that pipe, tucked the wire behind the coolant reservoir, and I was able to follow this small harness here. Note that I've got it going underneath that little cable there, and then it ducks underneath this ring cowl. Okay, follows underneath the ring cowl, and then I basically have it tucked along inside this window trim. Goes up to the XM antenna. So that's the XM antenna part. That's the other side of that rubber grommet comes out behind this glove box. I've already pulled this panel off. This panel's just clipped in. It comes right out. This was probably one of the hardest glove boxes I've ever done, which makes me sound pretty stupid because usually glove boxes are really easy, but I had a real challenge with it. I'm going to put some photos on here too within this video to show you better what I was dealing with here. But basically, you take off this cover and you find a screw right here. One screw there. Then you've got 2 screws approximately here. And once you get those out, you can get a couple of the clips released, because it has the metal tab clips, the usual clips that go in the rectangular holes. It has some of those. Well, I was pulling on this all different places and I could not get the damn thing loose. And I looked underneath a couple of times, looking for screws that might have been underneath. Couldn't see any. Well, what they have, and I'll show photos of this, they've got a couple of screws tucked all the way back here and up, and they're in like a little recessed area. They're very tricky to get to. Well, they're not tricky to get, they're tricky to see. Unless your head's all the way underneath here and you look straight up, and it actually attaches in these back corners of the glove box. They attach in these little channels. Just 2 little screws. But they're hard to see unless your head's really jammed underneath there. Now the reason I had to get that out is because that made it so I could pull the antenna wire through the grommet. Okay, now this car is equipped with sync, which is nice. So it's got the aux input in this cubby here, as well as the USB port. So what you can do here is there is a small Torx head screw, that highest Torx head screw. You can pull that out first, and then you can pry with a flat blade and pop up this whole section. I nicked it a little bit there, but you pop that out, that'll release that. You can unplug both of those. And then the reason that you take out that tiny screw on the top is that's going to allow you to remove this back panel, which is then clipped on. So once you remove that back panel and you've unplugged those wires, you can pull those wires down and back through to access the aux input cables. I soldered directly to them. I have photos of that also. Now what we ended up with is this is usually just a really small pocket in this car that's kind of misshapen and not really useful for much anything else. So I made a very simple thin metal bracket that this device, the cradle, sits on, and that's screwed into the bottom of that pocket. And then I just routed the wires over to the side. I didn't want to drill a huge hole in the trim or in the panel, so. And then what this does, it's all hardwired now. So as soon as you play this, it plays right through the aux cord, where I just showed you where we can solder right to it, and comes right through the stereo. And that's a nice convenient place for it to be so the driver can reach it and be able to operate it neatly. So hopefully this is helpful, and thanks for watching.